Hi there. So today we're having a look at the criteria sheet for your upcoming feature article exam. So starting off with an exploitation of a range of feature article patterns and conventions to achieve specific purposes. What we're looking for there is that you follow the structure of the feature article as outlined in your task sheet and by your teachers. That includes your headline and byline, your abstract, a picture with caption, short paragraphs, and the two-column layout. For an A in this dot point, you have exploited those features for specific purposes. For a B, you have been effective in your control of those features for specific purposes. And for a C, you have used them to achieve purposes. A D criterion would only have used aspects of those feature article patterns for some purposes. The second dot point down is about discerning selection, organisation and synthesis of a relevant and substantive subject matter to support opinions and perspectives. What we're looking for there is that you have organised your article in the correct order, you have enough evidence from your poems to prove your angle, you've got relevant information, you've made a strong connection to the human condition, you haven't simply done a review of the poem or an analytical review, that you have met the subject matter that is necessary. For an A, you've done that in a discerning and substantive way. For a B, it is effective and relevant. For a C, you have selected, sequenced and organised some of this subject matter. And for a D, you have selected and organised some of this to support your perspective. The final dot point in the first criterion is manipulation and control of the writer and relationship with the audience. To do that, you have to ensure that you are maintaining the correct tone for a feature article, specifically that it is relaxed and casual. If your article becomes far too analytical, this dot point will drop down to a C, where you have established and maintained some of the roles and relationships of the writer. An A, you would have manipulation and control of that more casual tone, and for a B, you have established and controlled the tone quite effectively. In the second set of criteria, firstly, we have a discerning combination of a range of grammatically accurate language structures for specific effects, including clauses and sentences in written texts. What we're looking for there is accurate grammar, short, snappy sentences suitable to a feature article, and a range of different types of sentences. For an A, you have a discerning combination of these sentences. For a B, you have controlled these sentences to achieve some effects. And for a C, you've used these sentences to achieve purposes. In a D, you have some inconsistency with your grammar to meet your purposes. The next point down in the middle criterion is a discerning use of mode-appropriate cohesive devices to develop and emphasize ideas and connect text. For that, we're looking at your use of conjunctions and other connectives to link your sentences and paragraphs together. We're looking for a cohesive idea, so saying phrases such as, just as in Sonnet 43, the Garden of Love, also to link your ideas and your poems together as well. For an A, you're doing this in a discerning way to emphasize your ideas. For a B, it is effective to maintain your ideas. For a C, you are using these cohesion to link. And for a D, you've used some to connect parts of your text together. The next point is about your vocabulary, using it for specific purposes. So this includes using the correct terminology for your poems and poetic analysis, and keeping a casual and informal style of vocabulary as is necessary for a feature article. For an A, you're doing this in a discerning way with a wide range of vocabulary for your specific purposes. For a B, it is effective range of vocabulary for specific purposes. And for a C, a use of vocabulary for purposes. A D for this has vocabulary that varies in its suitability. The final dot point in the middle criterion is about your mode-appropriate features to achieve effects in the written features. Here, this is an overall grade to do with your structure, your tone, the caption and picture, and whether or not these features have been used to add to the overall point of your feature article. For an A, you have discerningly used these for specific effects. For a B, you have effectively used these to achieve your effects. For a C, you have suitably used them for your purposes. And for a D, they vary in their suitability. Finally, looking at the third criteria, we have a discerning analysis of the ways ideas, attitudes, and values underpin the texts and influence the audience. For this, we're looking at how you have linked the quotes and techniques to the human condition and the message of the poem effectively, and do these links help to prove your angle and support your answer to the question that has been asked. To get an A, you have done this in a discerning way to influence the audience. For a B, you've done this in an effective way to influence the audience. For a C, you have analysed this to influence the audience. And for a D, you've simply identified some of these ideas. The next dot point is a subtle and complex evaluation of perspectives and representations of concepts, identities, times, and places in the texts. For this, we are looking at whether you have linked all of your quotes and statements to the overall angle, the overall answer to the question on your task. We're also looking at how effective the techniques and quotes you've selected show the human condition, and whether or not this can be shown throughout your feature article in the way that you link classical poetry to the human condition and the human experience. For an A, you have done this in a subtle and complex way. For a B, it's effective. For a C, you have some of this evaluation. And for a D, you have some simple identification of these ideas. Finally, the last dot point is about your evaluation of aesthetic features and their effects. This includes keeping the visual aspects of a feature article and whether or not your feature article has fully proven the angle and completely answered the question that was set. For an A, you have done this in a discerning manner. For a B, it's an effective manner. For a C, you have identified and explained this. For a D, you have some basic identification of these features. Make sure that you keep this criteria in mind as you are practicing for your feature article exam, and keep in mind during the exam that this criteria will be on your exam to help remind you of the features you need to include.